Hello, folks, and welcome to this tornado outbreak short summary. Looking at the largest January outbreak ever recorded in United States history, this is the January 21st through 23rd, 1999 event. In the grand scheme of things, 10 states were hit by tornadoes. Arkansas, here pictured, as you can see, had more than 50 tornadoes. Meanwhile, somewhere else like Indiana only got hit by one. So, of course, quite varied. We had a high risk for severe weather in place for the 21st. This was due to a whole combination of factors, of course, since any tornadic event is extremely complex. And this included a jet streak. The jet streak, different from the jet stream, is a part of the jet stream that just has much higher winds than anywhere else in its relative area of the jet stream. This can be important for getting a bunch of air in one place at one time, essentially more energy for a storm, more or less. Very, very simplified. We also had winds at different heights, these being at 500 millibar and 850 millibar, which is an excruciating way to tell height because I don't measure my height in millibars. I'm 5'9", not 2 millibars tall, you know. Anyway, these were very fast and very impressive winds, especially for those heights. Also, something to factor and with tornadic development. Of course, we had CAPE, that stands for Convective Available Potential Energy, essentially saying how much energy is available in a whole kilogram of air, since that is measured in joules per kilogram. We also had an inversion, which is pretty typical of winter, which means that we had colder air closer towards the ground and hotter air aloft. Now, yes, cold air does sink, but given how the surface is going to be one of the things to absorb heat the most and then radiate it off, this is just the opposite of how it works. So we saw a total of 128 tornadoes over the course of these 3 days. So it was certainly not the most at one time, but certainly up there in number. We had a total of 9 intense tornadoes, intense on the Fujita scale being F3 and above, and 1 violent tornado as well being F4 and above. So we just F4 and F5. This event, despite the very large amount of tornadoes, caused only 9 deaths, still 9 too many, injured 162, and caused $90.5 million in 1999 US dollars. Our first notable we're going to be looking at went from the southeast of Noble to McDougal, Arkansas. This F4 happened on the 21st and is a tornado I unfortunately have no pictures of. This tornado, though, caused no casualties despite its intensity, so no injuries and no deaths. Had a path that was 25.7 kilometers long and had a maximum width of around 400 yards or 370 meters. The worst damage that occurred from this tornado would happen very early in its lifetime, which, of course, depending on conditions and how fast a tornado is able to intensify and all these other factors, is relatively typical. This thing, however, only really destroyed 2 homes, damaged several others. Its intensity did not stay, though. It slowly decreased in strength and eventually dissipated, dying a slow death. The second notable on our list also happened on the 21st. It went from Vimy Ridge to Sherwood, Arkansas. This tornado trekked a pretty impressive 35 kilometers and was also very impressive, around 650 meters wide at its widest point. This tornado is responsible for 3 deaths and injuring 72. You may know this as the Little Rock F3, and that is absolutely correct. This thing, it did indeed hit Little Rock. I'm just using specific towns to mark where it began and ended, though. This tornado would heavily damage or destroy more than 200 structures, including homes. It damaged more than 750 others. This tornado lifted, thank goodness, just before the community of Sherwood, Arkansas. As you can see in this bottom right image here, Mother Nature has a twisted sense of humor. She'll destroy the pharmacy, but leave all of the containers nicely on the shelf because, I mean, just courteous, right? Of course, Mother Nature's full of courtesy. I may have destroyed your home, but the picture of your cat has not been torn up. So you gotta look at the positives. No, my house is gone. It's not very courteous. Anyway, our third notable also happened on the 21st. The Beebe, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, Arkansas F3. This tornado is responsible for 2 deaths and 29 injuries, had a path 13 kilometers long, and was up to just over a kilometer wide at its widest point. This tornado would severely damage the Beebe Junior High School as well as almost wreck a church. Many, many homes would be damaged or destroyed from this tornado. A tornado I also do not have a picture of. Apologies for the lack of pictures. Again, like seriously, I try and find pictures for these. I have such a hard time doing so. Our fourth notable happened on the 22nd and hit Clarkville, Tennessee. This F3 injured 5 and had a path of only 6.4 kilometers long. This tornado would indeed hit downtown Clarksville, which is even more impressive that only 5 people were injured. 124 buildings were destroyed, more than 500 structures damaged, and it caused a major damage on Austin, PA. PA is spelled Peay, so gonna say it PA, State University campus. Again, this is even more impressive that there was only 5 injuries. The significance of this event is that it is, of course, like I mentioned at the beginning, the largest January tornadic event ever recorded in United States history. That is a lot. Granted, this is almost paled in comparison to stuff that happens in April and May and March, but those are main tornado months. January really isn't. January is supposed to at least be a lull month, so to speak, where conditions aren't really there for tornadoes, but as you can see, in January of 99, it happened. Thank goodness, though, this is a good thing, many tornadoes happened in rural areas. This could have been farmland. If that's the case, then of course it is bad for the farmers whose land got struck. For the most part, granted, at the time, I'm not expecting them to have any crops that would be yielding at this point. So, more or less, this hit at like the best time of the year and in good spots, kind of, where again, rural areas that aren't having crops planted at the time. We also saw 56 out of 107 tornadoes in the entirety for the year in Arkansas happened in just this one day. To phrase that better, Arkansas saw 107 tornadoes throughout the entire year of 1999, and 56 happened just from this event, specifically on the 21st of January alone. Wow. Also, additionally, from the tracks of tornadoes in Arkansas, we can tell that there is a lot of tornado families. For those that do not know what a tornado family is, it is it, it's it's hopefully self-explanatory, but it is the process of a supercell dropping a tornado, then that tornado dissipates, and then it can recycle, and then drop another tornado. So now those two tornadoes are siblings since they came from the same supercell. This can happen as many times as essentially the supercell can. And conditions, of course, apply. You can have many weak tornadoes from a tornado family. You can have a lot of strong, long track tornadoes from a tornado family. It really just depends. And we saw at least a lot of tornado families. Tornado families are also extremely common as supercells will keep on going, just like any storm, until the conditions to sustain themselves, pardon me, run out. That is just how Mother Nature works. Keep it going, you can't anymore, gone. That's exactly what happened. With that, folks, that is all that I have for this January 1999 event. I hope that you all learned some things from this video. I certainly did while researching. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.